Blockbuster was the god emperor of home movie rental from 1988 to 2010. So what happened in those 22 years as home movie rental king, and who sat on the VHS throne? And what key concept am I going to blatantly shoehorn in by the end of this episode? This one, this concept right here. But back to the initial question, we have all ourselves over time gotten a little befuddled over the key players in Blockbuster's history. I know, look, it all happens, don't worry about it. The key thing is learning and making the learning fun. That's why. Okay, random customer. Did they ever work with Viacom?
No.
Aha. Were they pre-DVD or post-DVD?
Post-DVD, so any executive after March 1997.
All right, say no more, fam. Did he ever ride into a meeting on a massive horse?
What? I have absolutely no idea. This is so particularly niche that it's got to be the worst variant of Guess Who ever.
I mean, not the worst. Look, we don't have to go into 2 hours of exhaustive detail about the various CEOs who came after the founders, but I should tell you a little bit about them, at least, before the Michael Kelly era.
Do you have to? Because if I weren't here in person, I'd probably click straight off, downvote, and then unsubscribe.
Yes, yeah, I have to, because the CEOs are the ultimate decision makers, and you have to understand who they were in order to understand why Blockbuster collapsed.
Oh, you mean which CEO didn't buy Netflix?
Get out. Wait, did you pay your late fees? Right, so it is April 1987 and the founder of Blockbuster, David Cook, is unhappy with the direction that the company is taking under the new owner, Wayne Heisinger. And that disagreement is chiefly over the expansion of Blockbuster, or specifically the rate of expansion. Now, thanks to that wonderful innovative distribution center, Blockbuster was already growing at a very healthy speed, and it was kind of cautiously so. David Cook was letting the cash flow available dictate the rate of expansion. He didn't want to go into a huge amount of debt growing the business. But Wayne Heisinger, he is a big business guy, and he was very comfortable with using credit in order to expand. And so in May 1987, David Cook resigned. He removed himself from Blockbuster, the company he had founded or co-founded with his ex-wife Sandy Cook, and Heisinger then set the pace. As soon as Cook was out, and I mean literally that same day, if you believe the book The Making of a Blockbuster, Heisinger calls up their nearest competitor, the Movies to Go franchise, and starts negotiating a merger with them over their 29 stores, agreeing over a price of $17 million, which is only $1 million less than David Cook was hoping to raise with the initial stock flotation for Blockbuster. Wayne Heisinger is the reason that when Hollywood Video was celebrating its 500th store, Blockbuster had already opened its 5,000th. If you know that trend with the books where they're sort of big brain books with the one big idea and they've got a one-word title? You know the kind. If Wayne Heisinger was going to write one of those, there's no doubt it would be called Grow, because the Heisinger Era is an era of rapid expansion. That is from 1987 to 1997, when Wayne Heisinger was CEO of Blockbuster. It was all about growing as quick as possible. Now, that intense focus on expansion drew a lot of criticism from Alan Payne. He is one of the main sources I use for this project, and he has a lot of inside knowledge. He was the franchise owner of a large chain of Blockbuster stores for about 25 years. Payne's contention is that the big focus on adding ever more stores comes at the expense of focusing on innovation, on investing in technology and on data usage in order to improve the quality and performance of each store. And he's not exactly wrong in that, because the franchise-owned stores, which had a lot more leeway in the decisions that they made, consistently outperformed the corporate-owned stores, which had to follow whatever line the CEO set. So Payne is not exactly wrong there, and we'll talk about his perspective more in the next shift. But in saying that, I don't want to make it sound like Wayne Heisinger is an idiot or he doesn't know business. Obviously he does. But the thing is, Wayne Heisinger is a big business guy. He's a Wall Street guy. And he has a very different focus, a very different mindset, a different end goal, and therefore different objectives to someone like the founder, David Cook, who's a bit more emotionally invested, or a franchise owner like Alan Payne. For Payne and Cook, they want the stores that they've got to do the best they can. They want to optimize for performance of those stores and the cash flow of those stores. And that's very sensible for them, for their perspective. But Heisinger is a big business guy. Now, what he's most interested in is kind of what Wall Street thinks. So he wants to optimize the power of the brand, that brand image, and thereby the stock price. So what he cares most about is the two metrics, the total number of stores and the total cash flow. And he knows that having a fair amount of corporate debt in order to expand actually is not going to hurt him. It's not a big problem for him. Wall Street is absolutely fine about it because he can point to total store count and show that Blockbuster is massively outperforming any competitors and is therefore the market leader in home movie rental. And therefore, when Wall Street sees this, stonks. Heisinger brought some big business names that he was familiar with and trusted already into Blockbuster when it was small. And he got them into position not with the huge executive salaries that he wasn't in a place to offer them, but with stock options. And therefore Heisinger and the entire executive team were incentivized to prioritize any action which bumped the stock price. And consequently, that's what they did. Let's hear it directly from Heisinger as he says it in Gail DeGeorge's The Making of a Blockbuster.
With Blockbuster's option program, only 1/4 of the shares granted could be exercised every year, creating a perpetual golden carrot for executives. As Heisinger knew well, that helped Blockbuster executives keep up the incredible pace. That's what keeps people on their toes. That's what keeps them on an airplane at midnight. Is the stock going up? For Heisinger, it comes down to a basic human trait. Greed, greed. We all have greed. Some days you say, if I could have 5 million, I'd be the happiest person in the world. Then, when you've got 5, you want 10. But there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, it's the only thing you live for. Then there's something wrong with it. But there's nothing wrong with wanting more. To keep his tired tigers happy, all Heisinger would have to do is remind them of the rewards. You can come in on a Monday morning, and these guys are all tired. They've been working Saturday. They've been working Saturday night and Sunday. They sat home and watched the football games with their briefcases in front of them. And they may feel they've been working hard. But if you want to have fun around lunchtime, get them all in and start talking about how much money everybody's made. And boy, they're going to get a big smile on their face. Real quick.
Before I read The Making of a Blockbuster, I might have tried to give Heisinger the benefit of the doubt and paint it in a more positive light, like, I don't know, maybe he was focusing initially on the territorial game. He wanted to make sure he controlled areas strongly enough that the competition wasn't a threat anymore. And once they were taken care of, then he would invest into Blockbuster and optimize for store performance. But I can't say that to you now, not a chance, no. It's very clear reading this that, like all the big business guys that Heisinger brought in to be Blockbuster executives, the focus was never on having Blockbuster as your life's work that you were deeply invested in. No, just like the waste collection business he started with, Waste Management Inc., or his car dealership, AutoNation, Heisinger saw Blockbuster as an opportunity to get in, buy a business small, grow it really quickly, and then sell it for a good price. That was his focus. That is the big business game, and that is what he did. Early on in this book, you find out that Heisinger had to be convinced to get involved with Blockbuster because he didn't see it as a strong prospect. Really early on, he thought video rental was nifty, but he thought that there would be some technological innovation that would make it non-competitive, that would wreck the business. And so he didn't want to get involved. And he is writing that in 1997. Or rather, I should say, this is written in 1997. He was having that worry in 1987. But nevertheless, he got involved. I mean, this is before Blu-ray. This is before streaming. This is before Redbox. It's before torrenting. You know, he already had that concern, so can't deny that he's got a lot of foresight. But anyway, my honest opinion here is that Heisinger always intended to sell Blockbuster once he had got the best he could out of it, you know, making it a tasty proposition to Wall Street and then maximizing his gain from the massively increased stock price. He was just waiting for that sale to come along, and that moment came in 1994. That sale came in January 1994 when Viacom agreed a merger deal with Blockbuster to take over their stores for $8.4 billion. And so Wayne Heisinger managed to skedaddle with $600 million from the deal. Not bad going for 7 years in control, not bad at all. He knew what he was doing. Now, if the David Cook era of Blockbuster is the era of creation and innovation, then the Heisinger era is the era of expansion, as discussed, and then I guess that makes the post-Viacom Merger era of Blockbuster also the era of expansion, to be honest with you, but all confused and crappy and stuff. I'll explain. Sumner Redstone, the CEO of Viacom, he appointed a series of new CEOs to Blockbuster who had a very muddled vision of what to do with the store. First up was a chap called Stephen Berard, who was a Heisinger guy, and he didn't stick around long. He left very shortly after to rejoin Heisinger at AutoNation. Not a big success. So Redstone then appoints a man called Bill Fields, who decided that the future of Blockbuster was to try and flog you stuffed toys. Really. Now, branching out is fine, you know, that's absolutely grand. And Blockbuster was never entirely video rental, you know, they always had a little popcorn, little snacks for you, you know. It's part of the video rental experience, you know. When you take home that fat stack of VHS tapes, you know, darn right, you want some Doritos with that. Of course you do. And early on, innovative stores were even renting out building space to take away pizza joints because there was, what's that word? Synergy.
Order Taco Bell, buy tacos or burritos and a medium drink. Get a free Blockbuster video. 2-for-1 rental and Taco Bell food. Make it a Blockbuster night and a border night too.
Hurry and get a coupon for a 2-for-1 Blockbuster video rental when you buy food and a medium drink at Taco Bell.
Cross the border.
But Bill Fields wasn't going to limit himself to trying to flog you some family-sized Maltesers. He already thought that video rental was dying in 1997. Why that meant he was appointed to run Blockbuster? It baffles me, but anyway, his plan was that he wanted to use the substantial floor space that was distinctive and standard to Blockbuster to sell a range of products, to widen the offering, if you want to say it that way. And I think that's because his background was general domestic sales, not rental, and so he was falling back on what he knew best. Bill Fields is also the reason why we're talking about Blockbuster, why the brand is Blockbuster and not Blockbuster Video as it used to be. That's because he didn't want to pigeonhole it so he could sell you Shania Twain albums. But trying to flog stuffed toys and Shania Twain albums, it was not a winning strategy, and Bill Fields was asked to resign after 13 months. Incidentally, if you only read the Wikipedia page on Blockbuster, you aren't going to hear about Berard or Fields. And by the way, don't go and edit the Wikipedia page now that you know, please. I'm trying to bring some unique value to the topic here, and also it means that you have unique knowledge now. You've got elite knowledge. See, this wasn't a waste of your time. And so then John Antioco, hereafter John the Horse Guy Antioco, takes over as CEO in 1997 after Fields is put out to pasture. John the Horse Guy Antioco, much to Alan Payne's chagrin, tries the same corporate strategy as Wayne Heisinger, but he tries it without the advantage of the innovation lead that was there in the early days of Blockbuster. You remember how I talked about the social, technological, and economic factors that created the perfect environment in which Blockbuster could become a video rental empire in the first place? Well, those were fantastic in the mid to late 80s, but by the time John the Horse Guy Antioco takes over in 1997, that time has long since passed, and well, so has our time for tonight, actually. So I guess I better, well, you know what? I'm going to deal with that concept, actually. This isn't a J.J. Abrams script. I'm not going to leave you hanging. We'll deal with that concept now. What I needed to try and tell you about tonight is that talking about the eras of Blockbuster and the big changes that CEOs implemented after Wayne Heisinger takes over Blockbuster and brings it to the big leagues, well, you see a very different company to the Blockbuster video set up by David and Sandy Cook. In fact, it's going to be really useful going forward to distinguish between Blockbuster as a corporation, a corporate entity, and Blockbuster as a video rental experience. Good practices of video rental, providing the best experience to customers, a great selection, that doesn't actually change much over the 25-year history of Blockbuster. As Alan Payne shows in his book, the basics are fairly static. In contrast, the business logic driving Blockbuster Inc., Blockbuster as a corporation, that changes significantly as the corporation grows under Heisinger and is merged with Viacom's business empire. When we talk about why Blockbuster died, the answers will be different when we're talking about the Blockbuster experience instead of Blockbuster Inc. And over the next two shifts, I will be telling you mostly about the two major factors that doomed Blockbuster Inc. long before Netflix ever streamed a film. We're going to talk disastrous business practices and competition. Also, maybe I'll show you some of those awesome Ray and Carl ads. I'm not going to be able to resist it.
Ray, I don't know. Are you sure clicking this thing will get us online?
And that is it for tonight and our brief tour of Blockbuster CEOs during the company's ascendancy. I hope you enjoyed it. You may be thinking, I really want to learn a lot more about John the Horse Guy Antio. Don't worry, I've got you covered. The rest of this series, you are going to hear a heck of a lot more about John the Horse Guy Antio and the very influential decisions he made, because we are entering, from this point on, real decline hours. It's going to be collapse watch over here on Rental Breakdown, but that is for future shifts. Right now, it's film commentary time. I hope you're going to listen and enjoy. Thanks, y'all. Cheers. Oh no, John. How could you?